Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well this Monday morning. Kind of chilly here in Brasstown. It may be at your house too. I guess this is the time of the year though that it when it gets chilly, right? So thank y'all for coming this morning to talk with me for a little bit. Hope that you had a good weekend. Hope everybody's doing good. Everybody here's doing well. Everybody's doing okay, enjoying the cooler weather. It's kind of nice to move to that mindset of winter, even though it is a little sad as a gardener when I think about I can look down and see the beans and the okra are just all shriveled up and uh, dead from the frost. We've been having frost a lot, so that's a sad part of it. But it's also nice to think about sitting around the wood stove with everybody and with the family. That's one of our favorite things to do. And I can't, my laundry's in the basement, so I can't go get clothes or put clothes in if I'm switching them or washing or whatever till I have to go stand by the wood stove and warm on one side, then warm on the other. Even though it's toasty down there, it's just nice to feel that heat on you. Granny's doing good. I had a really great weekend because this was the weekend that I got to go to the historic Ramsey house in Knoxville, Tennessee, and give a little talk and then do a book signing. And it was so nice to meet everybody that got to come. We had a really great day, and I just so enjoyed meeting everyone that got to come. It was really nice. Me and Matt went with me. It was really nice for both of us, and we just had the best time. And we're so thankful to meet you that got to come. And the folks there at the Ramsey house were fantastic. They were so kind and treated us so nicely and fed us. Even they had made some food, so they shared with everybody, not just us. And of course, it was some of our favorites. It was soup, beans, and cornbread. They had soup, beans, and cornbread and peach cobbler, all recipes that had come out of mine and Jim's cookbook. So that was really nice, and it was really tasty. And I said, normally we're saying Matt's coming fed by the time the talk and then the signing the books and all that. And I said I was the one that had come unfed. I was starving, so it was really great to have that good home cooked food to eat. So I really appreciate Misty and all the other people there that really welcomed us. Her family, especially, though, they were really, really nice to us. And I'd never heard of that historic Ramsey house and never been there before, of course, but it was really interesting and I learned a lot. And the house there that you can take a tour of is really amazing. I should have put the link. That's one thing I did not in my notes, but let's see if I can find it. You could go to their website and see it. And if you ever get the opportunity to go, you could for sure go, and you'd be glad you did. I know, beautiful grounds too. The house is really interesting because it's set up like the period that it would have been, and it's not a humongous house, not like if you've ever been to the Biltmore house. It's nothing like that. It's a small house, but it's really, really interesting. So that was Matt and I had a really nice time, and it's about 2.5 hours away from us. And the way we usually would go to Knoxville is we go down, if you're a local person, you'll know we go down through Hiwassee Dam, 294 on through Farner, Tennessee, on Tellico Plains. We go that way. And that's a very, very Coker Creek. Loretta is from Coker Creek anyway, or where she lives. And very beautiful drive, but a very curvy drive. Curves for sure. If you get car sick, that's where you're going to get car sick. And I have to go off on this side trail to tell you, one time we used to go to Berea, Kentucky to dance every year at the Mountain Folk Festival. And one of those trips on the way back, we were on the way back. Corey was so car sick. She's like me. She gets car sick, that we were coming back up through we were already even to Hiwassee Dam, but she'd been car sick the whole way coming through there, that she was just pleading and begging me to let her out on the side of the road. And I was like, Corey, she was like I don't know, 14 or 15 years old or something. I was like, Corey, I can't stop and I can't let you out. I mean, we're almost home. I know it's miserable. I've been car sick my whole life. It's miserable, but I can't stop. She was just like pleading if I would just stop the car and we could just wait. And I was like, we can't wait. We got to go home. We've drove 5 hours. We're so close. We got to get home. Anyway, that's what kind of road it is. So Matt and I, we'd already been hearing people, I'd mentioned it in some of the videos, talk about all the roads have been kind of mixed up because of the terrible damage and destruction from Helene. And so a lot of people are being routed through our county. And I'd even shared that, one of my friends had told me there was some wrecks and things happening because of 18-wheelers trying to go on the little small roads. Well, we seen that firsthand. We were following one for a long way through those roads, and it could barely get around the curves, just barely. And then finally we got to a place where there was an accident, and so we had to sit and wait for a long time. Now I pray that nobody was hurt, but it was one of those trucks, and it had just kind of turned over and went like gouged out a ditch. So I hope that that they were okay. And anyway, we got to see that firsthand, those people trying to maneuver their big trucks through those little tiny roads. So that was interesting, but it was really, really good trip. And it was the first time that I've noticed, especially down through that part of the country, as Pap would say. And once I got back home and I was looking around my yard, it's the same here. I just hadn't noticed, I guess, because I was quiet in the car, with Matt driving. Matt was driving, that I noticed the first fall color that I've seen this year. And once I got back home and looked around my house, I thought, well, it's here too, Tipper. It's not as bright as it is some years, I'm sure, because of that dry weather. So anyway, it was a wonderful trip, and I was really thankful to get to meet so many wonderful people, and we appreciate you all. Looking at my notes here, see what else I was going to mention. One thing I was going to talk about, or just tell you about, and some of you already know, is let's see if I can get this. So our Blind Pig and the Acorn YouTube channel is where we have all of our music, and Paul mostly these days manages it. Well, again, if you have heard us talk about Paul, you know that last Christmas he got to retire. So he's worked in education for so many years, and as a principal, he had just so many irons in the fire. And his day, he also drove a school bus, so his day started like at 5 o'clock in the morning and might end at 10 o'clock at night. Who knows, with being in charge and responsible for all those things. So he's been behind in a lot of stuff at his house and things he wanted to do. So he's really been working on all that. And one of the things he worked on, and he explains it in this video, I'll let you go listen to him. It'd be better than listening to me, but talks about kind of what he wants to do with the channel, and how he's made a little place down there. So now when he records, he'll just have an easy place to do it. So you can go and listen to that if you've not. And then the next, let's see, not too far after that same week, he put up this song in honor of Hank Williams Sr.'s birthday, but it was late. He tells about that too, but Kalijah, you might remember that song. So you can read in the description of that interesting, fascinating details about the history of the song there. So you can check that out. But also, so this is on a Monday today when I'm doing this live. He'll have another song uploaded to that Blind Pig and the Acorn channel tomorrow, Tuesday, at about 3 o'clock. So he's going to try to get back on a regular schedule of uploading to that channel. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that. And you can check out those others, especially that first link that I give, and kind of hear his thoughts and what him talk about the channel and talk a bit about himself too. I still need to interview Paul. So many of you asked me to do that. He'd be interesting to interview just about his life. But then a lot of you have asked if he might be willing to talk to us about education, because of the book that I'm currently reading right now. If you listen to the readings, Jesse Stewart's The Thread That Runs So True, because Jesse was a teacher, educator, superintendent in the mountains of Appalachia, but in Kentucky, not here in North Carolina where we're at. So that would be interesting to do. I know. And then, of course, I want to talk a little bit about the storm victims. I know you're like us and you've watched the videos and you've heard, maybe you live in the area or have people there like we do that you hear, and people working there and different stories that get to you. It's just so sad. And again, it's not going to be something that's easily fixed. It's going to be literal years, and it won't never be fixed like it once was. So, they still need our prayers. That's the main thing, is that we serve a mighty God, and he can, prayers for financial. What are they going to do? They don't have a house. People are living in tents. How are they going to stay warm? Their livelihoods are gone. Where are they going to get a job? Are they going to have to move? All those kind of things. And then for immediate needs and immediate help too. But God can answer all those prayers. So please, please continue to pray. And then there's, if you're able to, everybody's not able to, but if you're able to help, financially, there's lots of different avenues for donations. And whether that's like buying stuff and sending it or donating monetary things. And everybody's not able to do that, I say, but everybody can pray. So that's a wonderful way to help them. But if you are able to do that, there's so many different avenues of how to do that, and everybody has to do what feels right to them. When you think about donating, of course you want to make sure that if you're like me, you want to make sure your money really goes right to the people. I've shared this before, that if, like in my local area, if somebody's having an issue, I like to just be able to hand them or send them a card in the mail with money in it, and it goes directly to them, instead of like maybe, any kind of online thing. Sometimes they have to, the administrative stuff has to come out of it, and that just is how it has to work. Anyway, I'm just saying all that to say everybody has to make up their own decision about how to help, but I am going to share some different ways today in this video. And then also I've been doing in the update videos about the storm. I can link to those. Put a link in the description below, a playlist that I've made. So there's lots of information in all of them if you wanted to go backwards and listen to them. And then in the pinned comment of each of our videos, I've tried to put just a list like of different organizations that you could go check out and see if those are ones that you would want to support. Those are ones that we would support, that we have supported. So you could go, and look at those and decide. And in all of you, please put ones in the chat there or in the comments. That would be great too. And so people have a choice, because you need to have one that feels right to you, that you feel compelled to help. Now, last week, I asked you to pray. Laura had asked us to pray about the church, that where the Just the Crumbs ministry was serving all those people. It was an amazing amount of people. But they had found out that their well at the church, and that's why they were able to do that, because the church had well water. It was not on the city water that had been damaged, but they found out it had been contaminated. And so that was the prayer, that when they done the next test, that it would be clear. And it was all clear. So that's the power of prayer, right? So they could continue doing what they want to. So Laura let me know. She says, this was a few days ago, of course, but I just received word that the water situation has turned out favorably for Just the Crumbs ministry. Thank you, Lord, for answered prayers. So thank you. That's so true. Thank you, Laura, for letting us know that. And this was one, I just start sharing this stuff with you, but this was one from Wood Thrush. I'm in Trade, Tennessee, and that was a place that was very, very hard hit. I got power plus water from my well after 13 days, but I am on Highway 421. Folks farther out still have no power. The folks at Brushy Fork Environmental cut through the 6 trees that fell on my driveway, so now I can get my car through. Bless them. There are supplies, laundry, and showers at Evergreen Baptist Church across from Trade Volunteer Fire Department. Prayers to all. Everyone should plan to have at least 2 weeks of food plus water stored going forward, because you just never know what can happen, and you need to be prepared. Live in peace, count your blessings, and stay strong. You are not alone. God bless you. So thank you, Wood Thrush, so much for sharing that. And that's a real glimpse into someone that was there and that was affected and that has seen it firsthand. So thank you so much for sharing that, and for sharing that information about where you can get the supplies, the laundry, and the showers at Evergreen Baptist Church, across from the Trade Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you so much for that. There's continuing to be more and more videos that you can watch. If, like I said, if you're like us, you're just, it's just so heartbreaking, but somehow that you just, also you can't believe the destruction. It's just amazing. But I wanted to share, this is from my friends, the Holmans, that I've talked about a lot. And they are more in that area, not in trade, but more up that way. This is, well, actually this video though does show, it shows the trade and the Fall Branch community. And I'll put these links in the description below after the video's over for anyone that wants to go. But you can go there and see watch the Holman's video and see some of that. This one, my friend Ed sent me. Thank you, Ed. And it's in his area. Let's see if I can put it in there. So I found it really, really heartbreaking, but really interesting, because the gentleman doing the video, he's looking for his daddy's car and his truck and his camper, but he's in an area, of course, where they live, and it's just that, it just shows the seriousness of it. I think is just he's just filming it, and you can just see this, I mean, hear in his voice how he just can't believe what's happened. And this is an area where he says, I think at the beginning, he's fished it, he knows it intimately, and then he's walking down through there, and he just can't get over the damage and the way it looks different. And one thing Matt and I noticed when we were watching it after Ed sent it to us was the part he's walking on, he says, is an old railroad grade. And I think the railroad, of course, has been gone for years and years. He wasn't talking about that. But so he's up above the water, way up above it. And then there's trees as he goes through that were not pushed down. Some of them were, but some of them that were not. And those that were not, they caught all the debris coming. And some of the debris that they caught is so high. So then I imagine the water being that high right there for those trees to catch that debris, and then look across on the other side of the river, where, I mean, you just can't imagine that it was that deep. I just can't imagine. And then you can begin to see, though, like he says, the power of the water. So I thought that was a really, really one that, and you just can hear the disbelief in his voice. It's what struck me, is that he just keeps saying it's crazy, because it just looks so different than what he's used to, where he was born and raised, Anyway, those are two I wanted to share. This was actually a comment from Ron on my Blind Pig and the Acorn. Ron's been with me, following me, reading what I write every day for many, many years. And I've got to meet him and his sweet wife a couple of times. Very dear people, very nice. But he's talking about, I've been writing some about things about the storm on there too. And he was talking about, it was about rocks that day, that what I was writing about. But I just wanted to read this one part in his comment. It says, I've been thinking about the effects of Helene also. Some people's property is actually gone. Some property is now unusable. We know of one story where the lineman setting a new pole had to dig through 9 feet of sand to reach original ground that would support the pole. Deeds and surveys need to be redone. The effects will be felt years down the road in unexpected ways. In the nature of things, not every change will be bad, but still early days to be finding those. Ron's right. Doesn't seem much happiness in any of it for now, or any good things of it. Of course, no happiness in people losing their stuff. But you think about that much, the water displacing that much, dirt and land and soil and stuff, and then to where these linemen, to replace that pole, they had to go through 9 feet of sand. Where did all that sand, you just think about it. When I was a girl, and I would go beg to go fishing with Pap and Paul and Steve, and then I would promptly, when we got there, beg for somebody to take me back home. I don't know how they put up with me. Most of the time they wouldn't let me go, but every once in a while they'd give in. But one of the things, and this would be, we would usually go to the Hiwassee River here, not too far from where we live, or Brasstown Creek. But on the river down there, one of the things, if I did get entertained by something, Pap would find me a place to play in the water. I never fished or anything, but I was mesmerized by the sand, just like I would be at the, at the beach or something. Now, even now, I love to play. And if I go to the beach, get to go, I like to dig in the sand and look at it and play with it and put my hands in it. But I think about that, the sand that I played in as a girl around the Hiwassee River, and then think about, what kind of water would it take to make all of that pile up into 9 feet? It's just almost unbelievable. These next videos are some I wanted to share that people keep asking me how they can help. These are 2 more opportunities for you just to watch and see if it's something that you feel led to do. So the first one is, let's see if I can go find it. It's Western North Carolina. These are both the ones I'm going to share are from Deep River Farm YouTube channel. Well, if I could make my fingers work. So I'm too cold to make my fingers work. They're both from that channel. This first one is help sponsor a family, Operation Mountain Relief, Deep River Farm. And they've not got all the details worked out yet, but they're just talking about it. So that's one there. And then the next one from them is something that a lot of you have asked me about, is Operation Mountain Relief, Western North Carolina, Project Santa information, and that's Deep River Farm too. So those are 2 videos that you can go watch and just see if that's something that you might want to help them with. This was another video that someone sent me, my dear friend that's sharing lots of information with me, and I thought it was really interesting. It's kind of talking about the wood thrush had said, about being prepared. This is just another way. This is a gentleman talking about his Far Point Farms, talking about him and his family are in the area that was affected and how they had no communication. And he talks about about the importance of AM radio. If you were, I can remember growing up in cars with Granny and Pap that had the little dials that you turn, and we would listen to WKRK or WCVP here in my area. Those are the 2 AM radios. But anyway, I thought that video was good. You talk about it or listen to him talk about the importance of that. And he actually shares at the beginning, he's just talking about sharing what they went through and the importance of it. And then he actually shares, he recorded what they could hear. Now it's hard to hear, it's the AM station he's listening to is a good piece away, a far piece away from them. And then there's lots of static and stuff. So I'm not saying you have to listen to all that, but it does really bring it home to you that was their only information they had about what was going on. They had no clue, for 5 days, I think he says, what was happening or what had happened. And in our world today of instant knowledge and instant communication all over the world, that would be something all of us, that would be hard, even if it wasn't because of a disaster like this. If you just suddenly went with no communication, that would be a withdrawal for all of us to wonder. And especially though, in the sense when you know that others, your neighbors and people, you don't know what's happened, you don't know if they're okay, that would be really, really hard. And then this one I thought was fascinating and heartbreaking, unbelievable, but also the wonderful power of the online world today. And my dear friend sent me this one too. I would have never even thought about anything like this. And I'm sure there's probably other people that are doing it, but this is one Facebook page that is lost and found items. And so you imagine if you're like the gentleman's video I shared with his father's truck and his camper and his car being gone and him walking down through there trying to find them. He was hoping that there might be something salvageable from them. Not that you could drive them again, or maybe they could get parts off of them or something like that. It's not, it's an impossibility when you see them. And he knows that anyway, but there's other stuff that people have, that their whole house is washed away. So on that site, there's on that page, people, and there's probably other ones, but for that one in that area, there's people, holding, I found this, and it's a picture, maybe. I don't know if y'all remember one of the ones that stood out to me, because I've seen them in so many houses in my lifetime in this area. It was just when they were really popular, probably in other places too. But it was where you had your picture made, and then they put it like on a board, and then they kind of cut out around into the edges of the picture. It's like it was glued down or something. There was one of my uncle and aunt like that in Granny Gazzy's house, I remember, when I was growing up. We never had one. Anyway, it was one of those. And they said, I found this. Now, it's kind of scratched up, but you can still see the people in it. And then in the comments, somebody says, that's mine. That was my mama's. That was whatever. So they're getting people's stuff back to them. And there was lots of other things too. And then there's people on there saying, one of them was, I know this is a long shot, but they showed a picture of a tree that had been in their family area, like at I don't know if it's at their house, on their land, but over the years, many of their people had carved their names in it, and it was still living at that time before the flood, and said, I know this is a total, long shot, but I'm just putting this out here. Would somebody have seen this? Just because it meant so much, because so many generations of my family had carved their names in it. And sure enough, in the comments, somebody says, this is it. It's all fallen over, of course, and washed down, but it said it's in a pile, and then they tell where it's at. They took a picture of it and seen the carving. So I was like, man, isn't that an amazing thing? Some of the pictures they were holding up was just little, snapshots, like when we all got our pictures developed, and they were, like might be scratchy, like where some of the color had been gone. But one of them looked like it was maybe a Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or something like that. And I just thought, our pictures are so important to us. And if you lost them all, what you'd give for one picture of, your family, your granny or whoever at Thanksgiving. So that's an amazing resource. And I'm sure there's, like I said, that's just one page. There's probably other Facebook pages like that, or maybe on other websites. If there is, you put that information in the comments, please, and share with others. And that's the power, one of the great things about the online community, because you could kind of like think of it as a bulletin board, but you don't have to go down to the local community center to read the bulletin board, or to Ingles or your grocery store or whatever. You can just look and say, that was mine. That's my uncle's. That's, some of it was like there was a case, like I don't know what was in it, of course, but like a metal case, and had a name on it. And then somebody was able to say, that's my uncle's. He lost his whole house. I just messaged you, how wonderful for them to get some of their stuff back. Let's see. These, I'm going to share some other, and I'll again put these in the description below if you watch this later. But this was a free virtual pet care from Chewy for Hurricane Helene survivors. And the deadline, though, was October 25th. Our hearts go out to the communities impacted by the recent hurricanes. The last thing we want is for you to stress about any health issues, behaviors, or symptoms your pets are exhibiting. So we're providing free virtual vet care to our pet parents in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. To get access to a free video consult with Chewy Vet, originally $19, please use promo code Chewy Helps. And then it's through October 25th. I'll put that link. Let's see if I can get it in the chat too, so you can see it. And then one thing about the donations, I would say, I'm seeing more and more people say, and more of the information that I'm getting from people is that you really need to make sure that they need what you're bringing. And I know that might be hard to do, but maybe if you could contact the people before you take the stuff, just because some of the things they've got plenty of for now, they may need more later, but you need to really pay attention to the list that they're putting out and take what they're asking for. So this was, and I'll put this information again in that description below, but this was I'll just start reading it. Donation drop information. This was a update. If you have questions about the donation drop, please do not contact U-Haul. This will make more sense in a minute as I read. Please contact us. They have allowed us to have packages shipped directly to them, but they need to be addressed to Mountain Mule Packers. This was the Mountain Mule Packers. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the wonderful work they're doing. But they will receive them at their address. We will not be able to offer any additional drop-off days before next Saturday. This is for 10/26/24, 10/26/24. So if you have things you need to give before that, we encourage you to share with another organization or church collecting. Just giving more information about the donation drop for next Saturday, 10/26/24. It will be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at U-Haul 1530 East Broad Street in Statesville, North Carolina. We have a good amount of canned foods, diapers, and water compiled for these loads already. So what we are really needing is a little more specific to request of things that will help with warmth and repairing homes to get them more habitable before it gets any colder. If you're wanting to help, here is a list of things we'll be getting together. If you want to Amazon or ship any of these items, you can ship directly to the U-Haul address to Mountain Mule Packers. You need to make sure it's Mountain Mule Packers at 1530 East Broad Street, Statesville, North Carolina, 28625. This address is for items shipped for the donation collection only, not regular mail, just only the donation. And this is their list of what they needed: dehumidifiers, box fans, propane heaters for indoor use, to include propane canisters, hoses, fuel filters for My Buddy heaters, tents, tarps, roll-up mattresses, jackets, gloves, insulated overalls, warm clothing, construction items, 2x4 studs, 2x4s up to 16 foot long for top plates, OSB plywood, wall insulation, house wrap like TYVEK, rolls of asphalt roofing material, 16 penny and 8 penny nails, hammers, tape measures, handsaws. I'll put all that in the description below, but I'm going to put that address in here. And then the rest of that I will put in the description below after the live is over. So that was that. Wonderful work they're doing. I really appreciate them. And they say we will also be purchasing some of these specific items, but wanted to share the list for those of you asking what the current needs are. We can also always use volunteers to help load and unload items if you want to contribute physical help instead. If you are a skilled carpenter or contractor and wanting to offer help, we can connect you with projects that need completed. And of course, we always appreciate your prayers. And I could put the source where all that come from too, so that you can go and see if there may be more information there. Okay, I'm going to share. This was the storm information, just all the videos that I've shared. So if you needed to go back and find out anything in those videos. This was this is a YouTube video. I've shared it in my, I think maybe at least two of the updates, if not more. But it is an interest in the geo models, because he kind of explains how all this water accumulated and the landslides and all that from like a big picture. And he shows some of the damage that can be seen from Google's Earth. So it is so, just so, once you see that, you can say, well, no wonder. No wonder there's so much tragedy. No wonder if it leaves that kind of mark on the earth that you can see from way up there like that from satellites. Gosh. This is another one just for you to see if you, another place that you could donate if so led. You can go and read about it. This is from John Mack Kay. We know John Mack from the folk school, and Corey and Katie especially know him better than I do, but he is a wonderful, beautiful artist. We have several of his paintings in our house. He's been really good to Corey and Katie over the years, and this is his workshop was gone, demolished, gone. So this is a GoFundMe that if you were interested in helping him, and I'm going to put the you can hear him talk a little bit about it, and I'll put if it'll let me put both these, I'll put the GoFundMe, but also there's a video there where you can see him and his wife talk about what happened in the River Arts District there in Asheville. This was an interesting thing. Someone my friend sent me again, feed me a lot of the information that is so wonderful. She's such a blessing and is working in so many different ways behind the scenes. I really appreciate her, and I know God appreciates what she's doing. But this is something I was talking about, those fall colors this time of the year. A lot of these towns in Western North Carolina and East Tennessee, but especially Western North Carolina, tourism is one of the things that they're economic drivers, if you will. And this time of the year would be when one of those big rushes when people come to see the leaves. So these, I hadn't even thought of doing something like this, but these are cities. They've divided it out into cities who are still able to say, come, please come, our roads are okay and we're okay. We didn't get damage and you can come. So these, as of Wednesday, here are the mountain town cities welcoming visitors. Brevard, Hendersonville, Tyrone, sorry, I want to say that wrong. Tryon, Saluda, Boone, Blowing Rock, Cullowhee, Silva, Bryson City, Maggie Valley, Waynesville, Weaverville, Highland, Sapphire, Cashiers, Cherokee, Dillsboro, Fontana, Robbinsville, Nantahala, Scaly Mountain, Franklin, Murphy, Andrews, and Hayesville. Some of those surprised me, but that's just what I was given. As of Wednesday, here are the mountain town cities that are not welcoming visitors right now. There are not, because it's just too bad. Swannanoa, Asheville, Black Mountain, Old Fort, Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, Bat Cave, Marshall, Hot Springs, Burnsville, and Spruce Pine. But then they do say, and I can give you the source. I'll put the source in here so you can go see it. But always check the official town websites before visiting, which is, you should do that, especially those I said I was curious that some of them I thought would not be wanting people, but I don't know. And use drivenorthcarolina.gov as a guide on road closures and alternate routes. So let me put the source for that. So that you could go and maybe if they've updated or anything. Of course, it's going to be one of those that's not going to let me do it for some reason. So if I will put that source link in the description below once the video's over with, so you can go see it there. Probably because it was so long. I'm still deleting. It was a really long one. I should have made it shorter for you, but I did not do that, and I won't do that now. I'll just put it in the description below. So, and then there was 2 songs I want to leave you with. One of them is a song that I'm very familiar with, The Anchor Holds. Dusty Rose sent me this. Thank you, Dusty Rose. We appreciate you. You've done a lot for us. When I was growing up, different people sung this song in church. One girl comes to mind that played the piano, and it was kind of the song that she would sing a lot, and it was always moving and always beautiful. People in my family sung it also. But let's see if I can get the link here. This is from RB live stream, and it's a message from the people of Western North Carolina is how they have listed it on their channel. About lost you for a minute. Okay, there you go. So you can go watch that. It's very inspiring. Shows a lot of the storm damage and stuff, but has a very, very inspiring message in it. That's such a beautiful song. And, that God can see us through those terrible storms. The anchor holds, if you put your trust in him. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful song. And I appreciate you sending me that. So please check that one out. And this other one, Michelle sent me. This is from Wesco is the name of the channel, Wesco, and this is Helene, the Carolina Tapin official lyric video. So let me put this one. It is a song that has been inspired by the terrible tragedy there. And it reminds me of you think about the ballads Appalachia is known for. This song may go down as being one of the ballads, about this song, like it's a current, just been written today, but it may go down in history as one of those, like the ballads that come to mind, whether they're murder ballads or the ones about the storms or, there's the child ballads and of course love ballads and all that. But that one, Wesco, I guess that's the man's name that's singing it, Wesco, what he wrote about Helene. It's just very, very moving and very powerful song. And it may go down as being one of those ballads for the future generations and will remind us about the destruction of Helene. So I appreciate all of you staying with me this morning and talking. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Continue to pray and help where you can. And I'm always glad when you stop by to help me celebrate Appalachia, of course. And I hope you have a really wonderful week. I love you all. Bye-bye.